I got a guest speaker. Man, and we got a good one today. Lisa and Bill. Lisa Natoli. Lisa Natoli is a spiritual teacher. She's a minister, a healer, and she's an author of the best-selling book, Gorgeous for God, and creator of the 40-day program for transformation based on A Course in Miracles that has helped thousands of people to heal from disease, depression, addiction, lack, and doubt. She's devoted her life to God, Jesus, and A Course in Miracles. She writes and teaches on topics of healing, happiness, and abundance. She's co-founder and spiritual director of the nonprofit organization with her husband, Bill Free, called Teachers of God, the Teachers of God Foundation, whose mission, wow, that's my mission too, to inspire, encourage, and support individuals to go through something called transformation. Transformation from fear to love. She hosts a weekly radio show on Unity Online Radio called Living in Joy that airs every Friday. You can check her out on her website, www.lisanatoli.com. We are so grateful to have here today my good friend, Lisa Natoli. Yep.
Good morning. I'm so happy to be here. And today's topic is called Lead with Love. So I'd like to ask, how many of you here consider yourselves a leader? Stand up. Stand up. I want to see. The leaders, all right. And more than I expected. Okay. Very good. Thank you so much. Okay, you may have a seat. My goal for this service is to increase the numbers before we leave. And I really believe that there is false ideas about leadership, and each one of us is a leader. And so today I really want to talk about what is leadership. I want to look at some of the leaders that I consider true leaders. And the true leaders that I really admire are Martin Luther King, Mahatma Gandhi, Mother Teresa, and Jesus. These are my top 4 most inspiring leaders. And I really want us to look at what makes someone a true leader, what makes them a true leader. And often people think that our leaders are those that are elected. And as you know, that doesn't always qualify you to be a true leader. Now, sometimes elected leaders are true leaders, but if you really look at their story, they were a true leader before they became an elected leader. And we're just going to look at these 4 cases that I just gave you. Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa, and Jesus. There was something in them that gave them a vision. It was a call for change. And each one of them knew that change was needed, and they didn't have a clue how it was going to happen. To me, that's the hallmark of a true leader, that they don't have a goal. They don't know what they're doing. That, to me, is a true leader. And it's a light in you that is calling you. And I just love when you look at the 4 of them, they never realized or saw the fruit of what they were doing in their lifetime. None of them. And Mother Teresa, when she passed, when they found her journals, she was filled with doubt through her lifetime. And yet there was a call in them for service. And to me, that's what a true leader is. It's somebody who really knows that they're here for a higher purpose and that they are going to show up and listen. True leaders are listeners. And I'm going to give you a practice today, and it changed my life. And I really do hope that it changes your life. And I am a teacher of A Course in Miracles. It's a mind practice. It's a mind training. You're training your mind in a systematic way to a new perception of everyone and everything. This is one of the newest versions that they have. And I'm going to tell you just a brief story about the two that brought A Course in Miracles into the world back in the 60s. Helen Schuckman and Bill Thetford. They were working at Columbia University in a psychology department. There was a lot of politics that were going on in their department. And Helen was an atheist. And they didn't really have a religious background. They were just working in a psychology department and living their life like all of us are doing, right? And one day, Bill Thetford said to Helen Schuckman about the fighting that were going on within their department, there must be a better way. That was before A Course in Miracles came through, but he just said there must be a better way. And Helen said to Bill, I will help you find it. And their joining was the beginning of Helen having visions and a voice that came through her mind, which took 7 years to put down, but that is the message that is contained in this book. And this new version, which I'm holding, is the handwritten notes. So it's the complete handwritten notes as they came through Helen on shorthand paper. And what I want to talk about leadership is that they were walking into a meeting when Bill said there must be a better way. And Helen said, I will help you find it. So there's collaboration and joining. That's very important in leadership. There's not a single true leader on the face of the planet who's ever done it alone. You can't do it alone. We need each other. They were going into a meeting, and this is leadership. You don't have to do big things. But they walked into the meeting, and Bill said, I'm going to show up differently today. That when there's fighting, I'm not going to participate in the fighting. I'm going to listen openly. I'm going to really stay present, and I'm going to not judge. And that's what they did. That's leadership. That is the leadership of Christ. You are allowing love to lead. So what I love about true leadership is you're a follower. That's what leadership is all about. It's about service, and you're following an inner voice, an inner presence, an inner guide. And if you look at Jesus, he says, it is not I, but the Father within me. He doeth the work. And so he was following the leadership of Christ. That's what Bill was doing in his meditation, is who is aware of your thoughts? That's an amazing question. In all of your problems and all of the conflict and every difficulty that you have, there is an awareness that is present, that is at peace, that's simply watching. And you become more and more aware of that still small space. It's just a presence. It's an awareness. And you become more and more connected to that light. And you begin to allow that light to lead you. So what I'm going to talk about is the practice that changed my life is, I just opened up to I will there be light. I'm going to talk about light today. And there is a light in you which cannot die, whose presence is so holy that the world is sanctified because of you. And that comes from lesson 156 in A Course in Miracles. There is a light in you which cannot die, whose presence is so holy that the world is sanctified because of you. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do a little meet and greet. But it's going to be different from the meet and greet that we get up and we greet our neighbor. I'm going to ask you to shut your eyes right now. And I want you to meet the light within. This is a real presence. It is a real power. So often we come into these places and we hear about this presence and this power, and it all sounds good, but we don't actually connect with it. So this presence is what life is. It connects everything. It knows what to do. It knows how to heal. It knows where you're going. It knows where you don't need to go anymore. This light loves you. This light cares for you. It protects you. This is the light of God. And what I would like for you to do now, if you're willing, I want you to acknowledge this light. I want you to meet it. I want you to say hello. I want you to just say, I see you. I want just acknowledge this presence and welcome it. And you may open your eyes. And A Course in Miracles talks about light from practically start to finish. And when I started as a teacher to really know that I needed to have a direct experience, I can't just do concepts. I can't just hear something in a book. I need to actually see that it works as a principle and as a science. I often think of myself as a scientist because I take ideas and I test them. And if they don't work, I discard them. And this is what I'm going to invite you all to do, is I want you to start working with this light. So what I just invited you to do is to go within. So the kingdom of heaven is within. And there is no such thing as a within even. But that for when we're in a belief in separation, at least it's a good starting point because our focus so often is out. Like we're looking out. And we're also waiting for things to come to us, right? We're waiting for money to come to us, for people to come to us, for more love to come to us. So we're waiting for the outside, the law of attraction. That's thinking that there's something out there. And if you think about it logically, the law of attraction could only be something that involves time later, right? We want a house or money or better relationships. Maybe it will come later when we walk outside the doors here today because it's not going to happen while we're just sitting here, right? But the law of extension is now the acknowledgement that you are everything, you have everything because you have this light. The peace of God is shining in you now, and the light is the only thing that came with you when you arrived here, and it is the only thing you are taking with you, and it is the only thing you need. It is everything, and this light knows what to do. And we don't work. Who works in this way? Does anybody yet do this? This is going to blow your mind. I'm telling you. I want you to really practice this. So, in 2011. Knew conceptually about the light. And I had been invited to teach in Europe for 6 weeks. I was invited to go to Sweden. My book was translated in Swedish. And I didn't know a single person. I don't know the language. I didn't know anyone. And then I got invited to Denmark. I got invited to Spain. And I thought, okay, this will be a very good time to start collaborating and working with the light. And what you're working with is Christ. This is what Jesus did. This is how Jesus was healing. He was working with the light within, which we call the Father. It is not I, but the Father, the light, that doeth the work. The light does the work. And any true leader never takes credit. They know, I'm not doing anything. It's the light. It's the love. We're leading with love. And so when I thought about it, like these lessons in A Course in Miracles say to close your eyes and acknowledge this light, this love, and extend it through your heart. And this light extends and encompasses through all places. So Jesus said 2,000 years ago that I go to prepare a place for you. And we all think that that means He's preparing a place for us in heaven when we lay down the body and die. That's not what that means. I go before you. I'm preparing a place before you get there. And so the way that I did it, and this is my invitation to you, and it will blow your mind, it will change your life completely, is when you get up in the morning, you wake up, you're still in the bed, the mind typically is already thinking about the day, right? And often we just pick up our cell phones or right near our bed now. There's Facebook, there's email. The focus is external already. We haven't even gotten out of bed yet, right? And we're off and running. And then we have a routine. It's just going through our days and our lives on autopilot. And we go into the bathroom, we go to the coffee maker, we go get dressed, we go to the office, they take the same routes. We are literally running a track that is habitual and unconscious. And this is what Jesus says, that he's going to wake us up. He's going to wake us up. We're sleepwalking. And so now what I invite you to do is to first acknowledge there must be a better way. You acknowledge the light within, and you deliberately extend it out through your heart. And I want you to send it out into the kitchen before you get there. I want you to no, I'm serious. I want you to send it out. This is the Christ. I work with Christ. And it's not a big deal. It sounds like a big deal. I can say it openly here in a community like this, but you're just working with the light that you are. That's all that means. But you are contacting that presence and that power that you are. That is beyond the conflict. It is beyond the doubt. And so when I went on this trip, I decided, okay, I'm sending this light out before me, and it will literally prepare the place for you before you get there. And I want you to invite it to go out into the cars, on every driver when you go out onto the road. The light knows what to do. I want you to send it into your family members' hearts. Send it, just know I am collaborating now with this light. I am one with this light. And so you become an incredible listener because the light is leading you now. It's leading you. And we don't live in this way. We have not been taught to live in this way. And that trip to Europe was a miracle. I sent it onto the airplane before I got onto the airplane, into the people beside me, everywhere behind me. There's this beautiful prayer in A Course in Miracles that says, Father, you stand before me and behind me and beside me in the place I see myself and everywhere I go. That's the light. Father. Father is the light. Father is the love. That's all that is. So the light is before me, behind me, beside me, in the place I see myself, and everywhere I go. So you're carrying the light with you everywhere you go. I love what everything that you guys said, because I was like, oh my God, they're so tracking with what I planned to say today. You are the light of the world. You said it, Tony, quite literally. You are quite literally the light of the world. But what happens because of the way we've been brought up here in time and space is our grievances and our fear put layers on us. Layers upon layers upon layers. With a name, I'm a body, I need to work hard, I need to struggle, I need to be afraid of you, you're a stranger, I don't know you, layer, 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 layer. And the light is so just a tiny, tiny, tiny little spark, but it cannot die. And it is so holy that the world is sanctified because of you. And there was a song you sang about choices. It was about a new occupation, and that our new occupation is to live in joy. It is to live in celebration. And what the light does, when you start to work with it, it will feel a little uncomfortable at first because we're not used to living this way. We're so used to looking outside of ourselves for confirmation of our next step. And this is why I love the topic of leadership, because Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa, they didn't know what they were doing, right? They weren't elected. They chose that for themselves. And so often in spiritual communities, I find that people just say, oh, I don't have to do anything. It's an illusion. And I just don't buy into that myself. Like, I really feel that we are needed here, that this world is really gone crazy, right? It's a place of chaos. And it's a call now for individuals who are going to say, yes, I am now going to live my life in service. I am now going to walk into that meeting, and I'm going to not judge. I am going to listen with an open heart. I am going to be the grace of God in the places that I go. And you don't have to do big things, you know. Gandhi wore a diaper, right? Like, here's a guy that just, and if you've ever, like, I really encourage you, seriously, like, if I encourage you to watch that movie or his biography movie, because he was just taking one step in front of the other. That's true leadership to me. Like, when you get up from the space that you are, I invite for you to acknowledge this is the start of my new life. My life as a true leader. Each and every one of you is a true leader. And I invite you to let the light lead the way now. So it's actually going to ask each and every one of you to have a practice of more stillness, because you have to listen to the light now. Jesus went away for long stretches to listen to the Father, to really go quiet. He went up to the mountaintop, which is just that quiet space within, to listen. And all of his prayers were Father. He's acknowledging that there is a power that is within him as him, and that he's working with it. And what the light does, it shuts doors also. So often I think people think, oh, it's just going to be this big open path, and that is true. But what happens is that the light closes doors also. Doors that are going to be a waste of time for you. And often what we do as humans is we see a door closing and we start to fight. We want to open that door again. Our relationships start to fall apart. A job falls away. That's the light closing the door for you. You go, yay. Because now you'll begin to see that the path is just clear. Just like you're just going. And you will feel different. You will see differently. You will begin to see the light in everyone and everything. And you begin relating only to the light. And you'll see, like when you leave here, it's like you'll find yourself more and more often letting people go before you. When you say, can I help you? Can I get that for you? So it shows up in a very practical way. And every time there's a choice to make, you let love lead the way. So often we have a choice to make, and we let our grievances lead the way. We let our judgments lead the way. We let our fear lead the way. And then as soon as you start to do that, you are a victim. And as soon as you're a victim, the natural thing that happens is you want to get rid of the guilt and you want to make other people guilty. And it's just down the rabbit hole you go. And so I'm just going to read for you just this thing in Lesson 156, I walk with God in perfect holiness. So it says, there is a light in you which cannot die, whose presence is so holy that the world is sanctified because of you. All things that bring gifts to you and offer them in gratitude and gladness because of you. The scent of flowers is their gift to you. The waves bow down before you, and the trees extend their arms to shield you from the heat and lay their leaves before you on the ground, that you may walk in softness while the wind sinks to a whisper round your holy head. The light in you is what the universe longs to behold. It longs to behold it. But you have to see it first. You And I invite you also, it isn't incredible to see, this light knows how to heal. This light literally knows how to heal. And you now begin to acknowledge it, and you say, okay, I'm working with you now. And our part, as the thinker, the light doesn't think. Light shines. It shines forever. The sun doesn't think. It just shines, and it shines forever. So when I say that you're collaborating with the light now, our part is to not let any old thought of judgment get through. Easy, right? But you'll begin to see that you can do it. You will absolutely begin to see that when a fear thought creeps in, you'll just know that's part of the old thought system. And I am no longer participating there. So it says, this is the way salvation works. As you step back, the light in you steps forward. That's what true leaders do. They step back. If you look at, I invite you to find true leaders. I've named 4, and you'll have those that inspire you. They are the most graceful, humble, simple people. They did great things, but they did it in a quiet way, because they stepped back and the light stepped forward, and they were following the light. And what I love about it, they don't have a clue what they were doing. Not a clue, but they were doing it. And when the light tells you to do something, they are doing it. Who walks with me? This question should be asked 1,000 times a day till certainty has ended doubt and established peace. Today, our doubting ceases. God speaks for you and answering your questions with these words, I walk with God in perfect holiness. I love this next sentence. I light the world. Can you do that? Can you light the world? I light my mind. So when you allow this light to be present in your awareness, it will cause all of those other thoughts to fall away. The darkness, it cannot stay in the light. It cannot. And all the minds which God created one with me. And so this really is a call now. It's a call for those individuals who would like to dedicate their life to the leadership of Christ. So I ask you again, who here would like to dedicate their life to the leadership of Christ? Please stand. Yay. Thank you so much.
You have been watching the message from our Sunday celebration service here at Unity on Cape Cod, providing a positive path for spiritual living. Please join us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 147 Walton Ave, Hyannis, Mass. And visit us online at www.unityoncapecod.org.